At the end of the day, if you look what's happening in our society, you see institutions being infected with ideology at the expense of facts and reality. And we're fighting this thing with the medical board because they want to do sex change operations for minors. So you can't, a 14-year-old cannot get a tattoo, but somehow you could have really, I mean, you're talking about they will do mastectomies, they will do stuff at the bottom, which is very, very problematic and irreversible. And, you know, these are kids that are going through a growing time in their life. There's a lot of different factors, and most of the dysphoria resolves itself by the time they become adults. So why would you disfigure a minor to be able to do? And so, but this is something that the medical establishment is globbed onto as like something that is about, I don't know, like opportunity. I don't even know how they're couching it. But other countries have gone down this road. In Europe, they recognized this was damaging these kids, and they've reversed course because they've actually followed the data. So we're following the data on it, and basically what you have is a lot of ideology that is trying to be put into medicine, and that's very, very dangerous. And I think you see it in other things too. Obviously, some of the COVID response, if you listen to some of these people about what they said would do. Remember, they said if everyone wears a mask for 6 weeks that COVID will end? They told us that. That was a lie. Okay, and if they believe that, then they're not competent to be in those positions. They said that school closures were necessary. They were wrong about that. They said you had to force mask kids. It was very devastating. The American Society of Pediatrics actually had things on their website talking about how important it is for young kids to have facial cues and all this stuff. When the masking craze hit, they took all that down off their website. They took it down because they wanted to follow the narrative, and they weren't willing to stand with what was right. Now people are looking at the research. They're saying, oh man, the masks will hurt the kids. Now we banned the masks in Florida with the legislature, with the Parents' Bill of Rights and other actions. But you know, the reality is that was not grounded in data. It was not grounded in evidence. It was basically the current thing. You know, people would put in their Twitter profile a mask and a syringe, and that was like their identity. And it was ridiculous. They lied to us about the mRNA shots. They said if you take it, you will not get COVID. That is false. That is not true. And they continue to say, even now when the evidence is so overwhelming, that not only is that not true, people that have multiple boosters, you know, you're definitely at risk of getting it. There's no question about that. So it's just time and time again, I think you've seen ideology placed over data and evidence. And then what happens is that they will say something like, okay, 6 weeks of masks will end COVID. So that's what they claim. It doesn't happen. And then what they'll do is they will kind of move the goalposts and say, well, you know, only 95% wore it, so now, and they will constantly try to shift because they will never admit that their ideology was incorrect. So that's very, very dangerous when you're looking at all these things. So that's a problem with our society that we're grappling with. And what I've said in the state of Florida, because we've taken on woke corporations, we've taken on ESG. Obviously, in the classroom, we've battled a lot of ideologies. But what I've said is that the state of Florida is the place where woke goes to die. We are not going to let this state. We're not going to let this state descend into some type of woke dumpster fire. We're going to be following common sense. We're going to be following, facts, and that's just really, really important. So anyways, thank you guys for being here. God bless you all. Yeah.